Yeah, this episode's not going to suck like the last 100 or so. This one's going to rock with the nice guys on business.
Because a large part of our brain is devoted to processing visuals. And now we have all this wealth of information that's percolating every split second on the screen. And, think of lovers. I mean, what do? They stare into each other's eyes. There's like this kinetic energy that's flowing back and forth between them. A band that hits the stage. I mean, if they got any rapport, they're trying to make it with the audience, but also with each other. So it's just a really good opportunity to do that kind of thing. And it should be, utilized to the max, to the hilt.
You look down, they know you're lying. And up, they know you don't know the truth. Don't use 7 words when 4 will do. Don't shift your weight. Look always at your mark, but don't stare. Be specific, but not memorable. Be funny, but don't make him laugh. He's got to like you, then forget you the moment you've left his side. And for God's sakes, whatever you do, don't, under any circumstances, listen to the nice guys on business. Running a business is hard. Being a business leader is even harder. The nice guys bring in top industry pros to help your business prosper in a tough world. Get real advice from real people to get you real results today. Now it's time for the nice guys on business. Here's your hosts, Doug Sandler and Strickland Bonner.
So, nice guy community. So today, we're going to take an adventure back in my past a little bit. I can remember as a teenager, my mom saying to me, I can tell when you're not happy because I can see it in your eyes. Or how about this? And you guys might relate to this. As a 6-year-old, my mom saying to me, I can tell when you're lying because it's written all over your face. Now, how can that be? How can my mom tell me? Now, I know that we are connected more than just in business. We're connected personally. But how can that be that somebody can look at your face or in your eyes and tell whether you're happy, sad, telling the truth, or lying? Well, Dan Hill has made a career out of this. He took that insight and ran with it, creating a company called Sensory Logic that's done the research for over 50% of the world's top 100 B2C companies by reading faces instead of relying on lip service input from test participants. New York Times was so captivated by the story that they gave Dan front page coverage. Dan, I'm excited to chat with you. Welcome to the Nice Guys on Business podcast.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Thanks, Doug.
Hey, I'm happy to have you here. So let's start this. Before we get rolling, I just got to understand it. How did my mom know? Now, I know I came out of her womb and she is predetermined and pre-positioned to know everything that her son is thinking and feeling. But I think it goes further than that. What is it?
The face is the only place in the body where the muscles attach right to the skin. So it is quick, real-time data. We have 44 sets of parallel muscles that give away how we're feeling. And probably what your mom picked up was, is there a disconnect between the words and what I see on a guy's face, on my son's face? So for instance, your expressions fall almost like a wave breaking on the shore. They gather, they have a crest, and they let go. When someone has a fake smile, it either comes on too quickly, it goes away too quickly, what I call the guillotine smile that just like drops off the face, or it hangs out there forever, what I call the Energizer Bunny of social smiles. It's just artificial. A real expression will last between maybe a quarter of a second to absolute max. If it's like the best joke you ever heard, you might get to 3 seconds. Wow. Anything beyond that, it's BS.
Okay, so when did you realize that this was a thing? Now, I know that, FBI interrogators and they do a really good job of reading body language and knowing, with a lie detector, extra perspiration and that kind of thing. But you're looking specifically at the face. They're looking at maybe the entire body as a way that how your body language is, your arms crossed as opposed to being open. The face, I realize that they got the muscles that are right there on the surface, and that's a giveaway. It's kind of like in poker, that's the tell. Your face, it's the tell. So
it's the best tell. I mean, one of the reasons I'm into this is that my family moved to Italy when I was a 6-year-old boy. I went to Italian first grade in a fishing village. I did not know the language yet. I had a lot of free time. I could only do the math. I had a lot of free time to figure out who was the teacher's pet, what were the clicks and all that kind of thing. Body language doesn't work terribly well because it's so large and it's different by cultures. Certain hand gestures, for instance, that are perfectly fine in Belgium will get you killed in Sicily. So one of the ways I got into this, probably because my mom was an interior designer. She loved art. And when I was 7 years old, I saw my first Rembrandt painting. And Rembrandt does faces extremely well. But if you fast forward into my actual career, when I bootstrapped my own company, what happened was someone at IBM sent over an article about the breakthroughs in brain science and how much we are sensory, emotional, intuitive decision makers. And that about 95%, it's actually 98% of our mental activity is not fully known to us. So the truth of the matter is, we lie to ourselves, we lie to other people. We are semi-clueless about what's going on. And what you can really depend on is the behavior. And some of that behavior comes in the face. Actions speak louder than words.
All right, so let's talk about some of those actions. Can you give me some ideas? Now, you did share a couple a little bit earlier, the smile that hangs a little bit too long, or the gesture that is a little bit too, I don't know. Give me some tells.
I think a really important one, maybe the most decisive, of course, in business, we always say trust is the emotion of business. The opposite of it is contempt. I don't trust you. I don't respect you. I find you beneath me. So a smile and a smirk look awfully alike.
Yeah.
Because the corner of the mouth pulls up. The difference is two things. One is that a smirk is unilateral. It shows on one side of the face only. Almost all smiles will be both corners of the mouth go up. The other thing is there's a tension there. There's certain anger there, because in some ways you're pleased that you're feeling contempt. It means you're above the other person. We always love to feel superior to others. On the other hand, the other person's beneath you because they probably lied to you or weren't someone worth respecting. And so there's some, rage about that. So it's a blend of anger and happiness. And it is so important. In fact, for instance, it's the most reliable sign that a marriage will end.
Wow.
With 15 minutes of videotape at the Love Lab at the University of Washington, Seattle, they have a 90% accuracy rate if the couple will stay together. I've used it in speed dating. We had 100% accuracy whether the man or the woman wanted another conversation with the other party. So there's nothing more fundamental than trust. So that's one thing. I also think some other things are really interesting. If you want to be successful as an entrepreneur, I think you really have to have a sense that you're going to be superior, that you're going to get out there and you're going to push ahead in life. Well, disgust means that the nose wrinkles, the upper lip flares, things taste bad, they smell bad. I think for a good entrepreneur, just like good athletes, because I've done work in pro sports, the great athletes index high on disgust. Great CEOs index high in disgust. They don't want to be mediocre. They want to be better, and what's mediocre stinks as far as they're concerned.
Wow. Well, I think about it as a guy that runs the sales team in my own company, the sales team of one. I don't know that there is anyone that is a prospect that doesn't. And I'm going to say this gently because there may be some prospects listening to the show right now, but all prospects lie.
Yes.
So it's how do I tell if I have gotten someone's trust, or is that just something that, I come back to, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to put that question on hold for a second. I come back to, there's just a gut feeling about some things. When I meet somebody, if they're interested in what I have, if they're genuine, if I feel like they're telling me the truth, a lot of those are gut instincts. Are my eyes picking up some tells in their face that is telling me, here's why you have this gut feeling?
Yeah, we're all facial coders. I happen to be certified in this, and I've done it for 20 plus years, but we're all facial coders because we can't survive on the planet if we're not, quite honestly. So yes, guess what? In running my business, I had to be a salesperson too. So here's some of the things I look for that your listeners can look for. One is anything actually going on? Is anybody home when you're having a conversation with the other party?
Right.
If they are not emoting, if there is not muscle movement on their face, then we all know in sales, the only other answer you want besides yes is no, because no means you can move on to somebody else and stop wasting your time.
Correct.
It's really important to see if you've got a car with no gas in the tank. And that's what the prospect sitting in front of it looks like, in effect. That's one thing. The other thing I would say is fear. There's a really reliable tell for fear. The mouth pulls open and wide in kind of a egads expression. That to me, when I was selling, meant they really felt imposed on. They were trying to be polite, but the truth of the matter is they were afraid about the moment when they were going to have to say no to me.
How easy or challenging is it for someone that realizes that, I mean, you go into a room that people that know what you do. And of course, the first thing they do is like, okay, I got to watch everything that comes across my face. How easy is it for someone that's on the sending side to quote unquote fake the way that they are feeling so that it fools you as a face decoder?
They're not going to have much luck, quite honestly, because there's something called micro expressions that show briefly on the face, but are good telltale signs. They can try to give you a more oblique view. Because when you can't see as much of the face, you have less information to work from. Someone once said that the 36 square inches from the eyebrows to the chin is the most valuable real estate on earth, because that's where all that action is taking place. So if you start taking away real estate, that can do something. The most common thing people do, though, is the camouflage, which is the social smile that they try to throw over things. But sometimes just before they throw on a social smile, they might give away how they really feel, or just afterwards, because people aren't as disciplined as they think they are, and the face is extremely sensitive in giving away these signals.
So we got eyebrows, we have eyes, we have nose, we have nostrils, we have lips, mouth, and chin. Am I missing anything else? I mean, that is pretty much it, right?
No, that's the game. You got the game.
So you're right. It is a very small piece of real estate that gives away so much. What has been the understanding or the impact of, knowledge is power? So now that we know this, how does this, maybe this is an obvious answer, but give it anyway, how does this impact the communication between sender and receiver?
Well, back when we were all wearing masks in COVID, that was a disaster. Because what you could see above where the mask was just the eyes. Now, we often say the eyes are the window to the soul. And they are really even better than the mouth. They're probably the best place to pick up the information because, the mouth is moving. We're used to eating. That's where a lot of the camouflage attempts come from. Very hard, if not impossible, to do that around the eyes. But the eyes are really giving us just certain emotions. They're particularly good at giving us surprise and fear. Because, for instance, the eyes go wider, the eyebrows lift when we're trying to take in a change in our environment. We're trying to guard ourselves. We're literally increasing our field of vision. So that's great. But if you want to know about contempt, you want to know about happiness, you want to know about sadness, those are all things that typically show around the mouth. So the truth is Zoom works great for facial coding. Masks work really bad for facial coding. And then you just have to navigate from there. But the most important thing is to pay attention. It's really as if people want to be lied to. We hear something that sounds kind of vague, but generally positive. And we go, oh, they like me. They like me. We're going to get the sale. This is all going to work out. You have to stay alert to the negative signals because those are the things that often are real and the things that could endanger your business.
I guess to a certain degree, and whether this is subconscious or this is just the reality of how my life has been with my own company. I remember pre-March of 2020 when Zoom meetings were just few and far between. I mean, they didn't happen very often. It was more phone calls, and most of my prospecting was done through email and getting to a phone call, getting to a potential close. Now it is no phone involved. It's email directly to Zoom meeting, follow-up Zoom meeting, follow-up, sales call at some point, sales closing. And my closing percentage has gone way up.
Yes.
Again, I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that I'm seeing somebody, we're connecting. It's so much faster connection when you're dealing with somebody when you have the one more layer. I mean, the video layer adds an element that really helps me understand what's this environment that this person is all about. How are they dressed? Not saying that a person dressed well is somebody that's more likely to buy, but the environment says a lot. How much, confusion and how much clutter is going on around them. That's all part of it too. But I love the real estate thing, that small piece of real estate between eyebrows to chin. How much of this is psychology and how much of this is I don't even know what the other side of it would be.
Well, I would start with the term neurobiology because yes, I think video works great. Zoom is a treasure trove. Because a large part of our brain is devoted to processing visuals. And now we have all this wealth of information that's percolating every split second on the screen. And, think of lovers. I mean, what do? They stare into each other's eyes. There's like this kinetic energy that's flowing back and forth between them. A band that hits the stage. I mean, if they got any rapport, they're trying to make it with the audience, but also with each other. So it's just a really good opportunity to do that kind of thing. And it should be, utilized to the max, to the hilt.
So share with me the impact that you want to have by sharing I'm going to call it your gift, your magic gift. Share the impact that you want to have with your magic with the business community that's out there, whether somebody's doing B2B or B2C.
Really what I want is more democracy. I mean, we have a situation where there's a lot of incumbent companies that are really massive and they try to shut down or buy out the upstart rivals. My heart's totally with the upstarts, because that's really where you get the font of most of the innovation typically. I grew up in a 3M household. My father launched 3M printed Post-it notes, production, sales, and marketing. My family moved to Italy when I was 6 years old. I didn't know the language at first. I am totally used to being in new environments, new situations, and clawing my way forward. So what I want to see is in any workplace, whatever size of the workplace, people's voices get heard, that the opportunities to not be shut down, to not be susceptible to fear and silos, indifference, all those things get blown out, because we should be connecting. We should be lovers, looking each other's eyes, and that kinetic flow should be happening, because I think that's what's exciting. And everything else is just boring as hell and a real shame.
So we could, instead of calling this the nice guys on business, it should just be called the lovers on business. It could be, we could make that happen. If somebody was listening to this and they were either the leader of a team or they were a part of a team within an organization, what are some of the symptoms of the illness that you can go in and kind of give them the prescription for your gift that would help cure it?
Sure. I mean, even though America sadly leads the world in this percentage of being engaged on the job, we're like at 17, 20% or something like that. So when I look at a team, this is one of my suggestions, for instance, rather than just assign a leader to the team, let the team leader develop organically. Why not have people actually create 2-minute videos where they pitch to be the leader of the team? And then everyone gets to anonymously vote as to who's going to be the leader. Because when I sit in or watch a meeting, I mean, you are losing so much capacity. I mean, who would run a factory where the factory is 80% closed down, the factory line? And that's what happens in most meetings. They're too long. There's, too few people talking. There's probably too many people in the room. There's no real agenda. As a friend of mine said, a team meeting is like a story that has a start, a middle, and no climax. I mean, whoever wants to go to a movie that has no climax? Most business meetings have no climax.
Yeah, don't let anybody sit down either. If you let people sit down, the meeting is too long. Just do it standing up. You can do it in 5 minutes or less. I do not like these long meetings.
Yeah, no. Warren Beatty said, take any script and cut it in half. I'd say the same thing about most meetings. If you think you need an hour, you probably really need 20.
So who is ideal to be on I want to talk further with Dan about what Dan does? Because I just, the concept is great, and the symptoms and the gift that you impart to our community is great too, because people can obviously see if they're having challenges reading or knowing or being within their organization. What's the best way for somebody to engage what you do?
Well, they can reach me through my website or my email, dhill@sensorylogic.com. But let's go back to applications. I mean, I started my own business. I remember one point saying to my employees, I said, this is like Utah Beach. The difference is we're never going to Paris. We're always going to be on the beachhead, and we're always going to have to keep fighting, and the Germans are going to be shooting at us from the cliff. So I needed everyone with me. So one of the ways that I think facial coding and emotional intelligence is really important is, who do you hire? Do you keep them engaged, and you keep them from walking away with all that knowledge that they've built up that's really useful to you and to your customers? So, one of the things I always go back to is, even though he had some other problems, Jack Welch devoted over half his time to personnel matters, more than half his time. You look at surveys that like Harvard Business Review has done, you'll discover that most executives, whatever the size of the company, large, small, startups, they give way too much of their time to being alone, maybe just with a small coterie of people. The answers are out there. One of the reasons why our eyes go wide is because we have to take in information. One of the reasons we have surprise is the mouth falls open. It's like nature's way of saying, shut up and pay attention. Listen to other people. There is nothing more important than just getting out there and listening, accepting the objections to what you have or why it could be better or what you missed on, so that you can be stronger the next time out. So I think hiring is a really big application. I think sales is a really big application. I think anything involving leadership, forming allies, everything in the future is going to be about your relationships. You need lots of allies, and they're going to shut you down. I mean, I'll go to one of my favorite cartoons from the New Yorker. Two women are talking. One says, "But enough about me. What do you think about me?" We've all been in conversations like this. And if you're trying to form alliances, you can't just go on bragging about yourself. You got to figure out where the other party is coming from. And that's why I think one of the real services of facial coding. Sherlock Holmes said, "I have trained myself to notice what I see." Most of us see without seeing.
Totally agree. I mean, think about all of the things that you do in the course of your day that you just completely skip over because you're so busy getting to the next thing that you're missing the thing that you're looking that's right in front of you. You can't see the forest for the trees.
Yeah. No, you've just failed to live in the moment, and you've just suppressed or ignored a whole bunch of signals that could save you.
So Nice Guy community, if you have, whether you're a leader on a team or you are in selling or you are in personnel or your HR or anything like that within your organization, if it's large, or you own the company and you kind of are the master of all of those things within your organization, it may be a good idea to head over to sensorylogic.com and check out some of the stuff that Dan has on his site. Also, I'll put in the show notes access to all of his social media channels as well, so you can get a little bit more information about. It looks like Emotions Wizard. Is that the name of the program itself?
No, I do a podcast called Dan Hill's EQ Spotlight. And I do have some other things too. I have musicians on and poets and so on, but it's primarily business people.
I saw many of the episodes. I think all of the episodes actually that I was looking at were you interviewing authors. Is that right?
Yes, because it's the New Books Network. So the premise of the guy who launched it from Harvard was that they had to publish a book within the past year.
Nice.
What I surprised my guests with is I've actually read their books. Which distinguishes me from some of the other podcasts that are on.
It's really hard. I'm telling you, 1,300 episodes in, and I would say a good 900 or so have been interview episodes, and many of those people have written books. I am the slowest dang reader. I usually will get a copy of the book. I'll skim through it, and I'll read a couple of chapters just so I get a good sense. But hey, if you're able to go through the entire thing and read it, more power to you. It is a big challenge for us podcasters.
It can be, but I always love the joke from Dick Cavett. Have you read any good book covers lately?
That is very true. Well, Dan, thank you so much for sharing your message and your inspiration on the Nice Guys today. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely, Doug. Thank you.
Hey, Nice Guy community, never underestimate the power of nice. Again, special thanks to our guest, Dan Hill. All of his information, including access to his website and his social media, will be right there in the show notes. Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
Are you sure the legal department cleared this? Okay then. For the Nice Guys on Business, I'm Steve O'Brien. Hey, if these bozos want to get sued, that's their business. Leave me out of it. Wait, we have a legal department?